What's up, Rebelscum? Welcome back to another Rebelscum Rewind series. We're going to be doing a little retrospective today on Jabba the Hutt Palace playsets, or dungeon playsets. As you remember back from our Plastic Sands of Tatooine, we didn't do Jabba. I said we were going to do Jabba in the future. Last month, the new Jabba's throne room, Boba Fett's throne room, Bib Fortuna's throne room, whatever you want to call it, released. So I wanted to show you that, guys, because it just came out, and I wanted to do a nice Jabba's Palace sort of characters that had been produced, and taking a look at that with a couple of customs in there. So that sort of jumped the gun on this was going to be my segment first, to do Jabba's Palace throughout the years and then hop into that. But we already did that one. So we're going to start here with the retrospective way back in 1983 with just in time for the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. We're going to begin with Jabba the Hutt action playset. Now, this is mostly just Jabba himself, the figure, but he also comes with his stone dais here, and it also has a little bit of a play element to it. So the play element to it here essentially is within the base. Oh, there goes Salacious Scrum. Within the base, you turn one of the, here we go, you turn these, and it opens up, and there's like a little bit of a dungeon in there. There are some skeletons and rats and stuff like that. So basically it is, you could throw people in there, and this is the dungeon. But it's really not. It's his stone throne, essentially. And it's great for building out a Jabba's court display back then. What you also get with this is Salacious B. Crumb. You get his hookah, and then you get that little container for the frogs as well. So this separated out. I don't think they did any ones after this. Oh, no, I'm sorry. There was the Saga one that separated, because the most recent one before the Vintage Collection one, which is coming out next year, the most recent one essentially doesn't separate. The Walmart exclusive is just one piece. You got this great Jabba figure here, who you could turn the head, and his tail kind of wiggles back and forth, and he's all this one classic color. I thought this was a pretty good Jabba. I love the eyes they did on this guy as well. And then you got this little tether here for one of his captives, dancers, or whoever it wanted to be. But Kenner never made Ula, and Kenner never made Slave Leia. So this was here. You could I essentially tether anybody you want. They have Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight tethered here on the front. But this was pretty nice. I mean, it had kind of a stone look to it. It had these little gargoyle heads. They had a lot of detail on this for the time period, which was pretty cool. And then, of course, you have this little base here for the character, his little holder here for his hookah. So a lot on it. And this is a pretty solid throne. There's nothing underneath it, no detail, no wheels or anything like that. But that's essentially this figure, which was also a playset with this base. So that's where we're kicking it off. So this will be, I think this is one of the only above ground ones in the Kenner line. I'll show you a brief exception to that at the end of this mini segment. But let's hop down into the dungeon now, and still staying in 1983. So still in 1983, we got this Jabba the Hutt dungeon playset. Now, this was a Sears exclusive at the time. I don't have the box. The box looks like this. You're going to show you two versions of this. Immediately, you're going to notice that this is essentially the Droid Factory base. They changed a couple elements to it. They don't have the cutouts for all the different droid pieces anymore, so there's more detail there. The layout of the ramp is the same. The stairs are the same. The crane is a different color. It's this light gray color with this black coupling here. They still have this little piece on it. What's different here, instead of the other hook at the end now, is this branding iron. So essentially you could use your 88, which was included in the set, and grab that Gonk droid from the 78 line, and you could brand them. So that's kind of nice. This also included Klaatu here, and then Nikto. So you got these other Jabba guards in this dungeon set as well. But the only figure really relevant to the set was 88. And you could get him separately, but it was nice that he came with the set. This was what he did. His whole big scene was branding that droid. It's a little larger than the version that from the film, but this wasn't bad. I mean, it was weird. It had a bunch of mechanical parts in there. as opposed to looking more dungeony. I guess you could get a whole bunch of the parts from the droid factory and litter them around here, so it looks like a droid torture chamber. But I think that's what this was kind of embodied to be, was the droid torture area, because there's no prison cells or anything to be the dungeon. But that was part of the dungeon. It was the droid dungeon. But that is essentially it. It's just this gray thing. You got different peg holes on here for characters, most notably 8D8 here, who could work this crane. So we're going to hop forward 1 year this time and check out the second Jabba's dungeon. So 1984, we got the second Jabba the Hutt dungeon action figure playset, still a Sears exclusive. This one, as you can see, it's a tan base as opposed to the gray base. Still the same exact base as the other ones. Still the same accessories as the other Jabba dungeon playset. What changed here is the crane is now a different color. So still that black insert here, but now it's a dark brown. Now this is completely different than the droid factory arm, although some people mix it up. That is a light brown. This is a dark brown. So this one had a very unique mold or coloring on this. So if you're trying to, if you find one of these in the wild and you're trying to get the missing parts, it's a different crane. You cannot just use the Droid Factory crane with this one. So this one came with some of the last 17 figures, the rarest figures out there. It came with EV99. It came with Barada here, and then it came with a Man-O-Man. I love a Man-O-Man. I think he looks great in this mold. Really great job on him. And he has this great little cane he came with here too, which is also hard to track that down if you don't have an original one. You know, court denizen here, and then another guard. And then again, the only relevant character was EV99, who was in that torture dungeon. So pairs very well with 8D8 if you have the two of them on this set. And then you could do the droid chamber torture, and then you have the EV99 sort of like master caretaker there as well. EV99, we did not see a lot of this character. Appeared again, and I believe it was 98 maybe. But like this was it. There were only two of those. Same with 8D8. We haven't gotten one in like 30 plus years, so we're finally getting a new one next year. So those droids are making their way back. Just some classic characters. It's nice to see them brought back to life, vintage collection. So that's really, there's not much different here. Like I said, it's just purely a color change. And this was sort of the rarer of the sets because it came with some of those last 17 figures. And then you can see that the shots here changed a little bit, showing the newer characters, and then EV9 with R2D2. But that's really it. I'm just impressed at how well my box looks. I haven't looked at it in a while. It's almost, it's pretty minty looking here. Not bad. Maybe a little tear there, but other than that, really sharp. But yeah, this is the rarer of the two sets. And it just came with better characters. I think these were harder to get, so getting them in this box set was just nicer. But that's all that is, I guess, at the time from Kenner in terms of Jabba playsets. We just got those three. Not bad. I mean, you could build out your court with that Jabba throne, and then you got two dungeon pieces side by side. But there's one more, and this isn't really part of the line. But I've seen this, and it's amazing, and I've always tried to find one to no avail, and I know there's been some replicas on Etsy, but it's this, you can see right here, this is from a toy store in Italy in, I believe it was 1983, when they were showing off the Return of the Jedi line, and it's Jabba's Palace. It's the whole court area. You have his throne area, you have a little stage area. Like, it's just really built out, and it's this great modular cardboard, and it's totally something you'd see in like the Palatoy line, maybe, or something along those lines, like that great Death Star I showed you guys from Palatoy. And it would just be amazing if Kenner had that as a release, because it's so cool. It's so much, and it's got so much detail in it, and it's just this very large display. But again, this was only unique to some Italian toy stores on display. I have never seen one like go up for sale, if anyone ever managed to salvage one or find one on eBay, an original one. I mean, I've seen reproductions on Etsy. There were some Etsy stores that made reproductions of it. So you could look around for it, maybe you get lucky and find one, but originals, not going to find them. But I thought it was worth mentioning as sort of a vintage play set, because it was 83. It is that old style that you'd see in some of the offshoots like Palatoy. So it's really cool. So that is all for the vintage. We have one more to show you, and we're going to fast forward all the way to 1998 with the Power of the Force 2 collection. So here we are, Power of the Force 2, 1998. We have Jabba's Palace 3D diorama. Yes, I still have one in the packaging too, so you guys can check out what it looks like. It just has a scene here with a few of the characters. The Jabba's based on the special edition that came out at the time with that new CGI footage before they retooled him and recolored him, so he's kind of bluish. We didn't have a good Jabba. The 1999 Jabba that came out just a year later for the Episode 1 Phantom Menace collection, he was a better Jabba because he was situated in that wrapping the tail around pose. So that was probably a better Jabba to use in this set. It was also colored a lot better. Nothing much more on this package other than just a little bio in the background of Jabba's Palace and then the pod race of Boonta Eve. So this was one of the two released versions of the 3D playsets. We also have the Cantina, which I showed you guys in the Cantina segment we did. And then the unreleased Echo Base, which I unfortunately don't have a picture of anymore, but that was a Sears catalog exclusive as well. But after this, they stopped, and it was a shame because these were pretty good. I mean, the Cantina is still the only Cantina we have. This Jabba's Palace, on the back of it, you could see sort of the exterior of the palace, including that door, which is the first introduction we get to Jabba's Palace, the C-3PO and R2-D2 come across with that weird door droid. But up until about this year, this was the only way to really display your figures in Jabba's Palace. It came with this unique Han Solo and Carbonite, but it's a thawed out Han Solo, and this like discarded Carbonite shell. This is the only way you could get this specific character, is this Power of the Force 2 set. Like there's no other version, I'm pretty sure there's no other version where it has him removed from it. There's one where he is like, it's red and then, so half red and half carbonized, but there's none where he's completely removed from it. So this cutout version is unique to this set. And I mean, there's still elements of this set that don't exist even now with the new version. So, I mean, they kind of got, this is all better in the 2023 version. We're still missing the stairs in the modern versions to sort of connect to the Jabba's Adventure set from the 2019 Vintage Collection, which is basically right here, where they'd have the Carbonite and then the heads and all this area. It's actually set in a little bit more past some stairs. So this sort of connective piece is missing, and this was important in the movie because this is where in the special edition they had the singers and everything up here. And even in the regular version, this is where the band was playing up here. So they're missing sort of like the performance stage area. So some elements are still missing even now. But I mean, even by today's standards, this is still a pretty decent playset. I mean, you got this nice area, the stone dais here for Jabba, which we didn't have one back then. But you could easily remove this, which I did, pop it out, and you could fit in that Walmart Jabba that we showed you in the Mingling in Jabba's Palace video. So this fits perfectly in here. So you could have your Jabba and have plenty of room for all your denizens. And then you got this great little Rancor here that is popping out saying hello. So you got people, you can see them underneath, people meet their demise there. But they have a lot of detail on this, and it's impressive for 1998. It's a very nice set. You could probably find it, I don't know, maybe for like $30 on eBay if you're interested in getting it. And it's a nice way to display your figures with a little bit of nostalgia if you don't want to go the route of the Vintage Collection one, which is a shame because it's amazing, as I showed you guys last week in the Mingling Jabba's Palace. So this was the end of playsets, essentially. We only got like 4 until 2019 when we got the Jabba's Adventure playset, which I showed you guys last week in the, last month in that segment. And then 2023 when we got the throne room area. So, I mean, this was it. It was a big gap of about 20 years before we started getting more Jabba's playsets. But now we have some pretty definitive ones. They're pretty nice. They're not perfect. There's some aspects of it that aren't the right proportion, particularly in that Jabba's Adventure playset, but they're pretty good. I'm happy with them, at least. So that's all for what I have to show you historically. And we did do that excellent job mingling in Jabba's Palace segment, so please go and watch that video to see all the different characters. But I do have a treat for you. I always try to sneak in one little extra surprise at the end of the video if you've made it through. And last month I showed you, as I was just getting the new Jabba's Palace set and putting that together, I told you I was going to make some refinements and make things a little bit more proportionally accurate. So let's cut over to my new and improved Jabba's Palace, which is a little bit of a work in progress, but it's pretty nice. So let me show you guys what I did to bring it up to snuff a little bit more. Okay, well, here we are. I've had a month now to play with my Jabba's Palace and to make some upgrades. Just wasn't happy with just having those two parts, although they're amazing. I think we missed a couple of critical ones that I hope Hasbro gets around to at some point. First and foremost, I got my leaf. I found a nice guy in Sri Lanka that makes some great 3D printed sets, and he made this great leaf for the Jawa. And he also made these other two sets that I'm going to show you that I got picked up on eBay. With any 3D printed set, you're going to need to sand it, you're going to need to fill the gaps, smooth it out, you're going to need to prime it, you're going to need to paint it, you're going to need to texture it if you wanted to get it looking really sharp. So I did a lot of work on this. So if you're not prepared to do that, you know, maybe this isn't for you, or maybe you could pick something else up that's finished, but I was able to go in and do all that and happy with the results here. But with the floor here, I just got this floor in today. It's this great system that you could get. A lot of different people make these online. They're 3D printed. This one was nice and finished, and it has the panels that come off and reveal that cage underneath. Really fascinating. There's a scene in the movie where Ula goes through and it goes from this floor to this floor. Instantly, all these panels came off so people could see underneath. It doesn't show anyone removing the panels, so it's kind of weird. I actually really dedicated on this. I cut a hole into the table to get this to sink in, so it's level with the flooring. And it looks great. I'm really happy with it. It turned out really nice. What I'm also really happy with is over here, and you see this is kind of a crucial part, and I was just talking about this, and that is the stairs. And let me get the light over here so you guys could see it. And you could see all the characters here, and I'll give you a little zoom. And it's just perfect because it's the stage for the band and for the dancers, and it's sort of bridging the gap between the Cantina Adventure set and the Jabba's Throne Room set. And it's kind of critical. We're missing it, though. These stairs are not there. And they create that distance between the throne room and between the adventure set that I was talking about in the last video. That distance was missing. They weren't right on top of each other. So it was kind of irritating. That's how they displayed it, but they don't have those pieces. So it gives you a little bit more space for your characters and stretches out the area a little bit. You see I added the blue curtain in there. Just grabbed one at Michael's to close it up. It was a little blue curtain, not exactly this color, where Jabba was hiding on the other side. And then on this side, Jabba's chief of security poked through when they went in and got him, so I just kind of stuck him there. Now, when I said it's not perfect, this door is supposed to be like twice this width because Jabba was sitting in it. So it's really just kind of short, and I might get something to replace it because this room's supposed to be a lot bigger. So that's really one key issue I have with this set is it just, even though they showed it on the box art with Jabba like hiding there, it just wasn't big enough for him. It should have been at least twice this size. Other than that, I'm really happy with how this room turned out, and they did a great, Hasbro did a really great job with this room, essentially. So it would have been nice if they made that a little bit bigger. So yeah, I mean, hopefully at some point we'll get the stage area. I don't know. It'd be an odd play set, but it gives you some more doorways and stuff and space for the characters. And then on this other side, I needed an entrance. It just wasn't good enough for me without the entrance. Now, justice for BGJ38 there. He has his little slot machines finally. So he could be playing those over there on the wall. So I thought that was just kind of perfect. And total accident, I got this weird texture that looks like stone facade breaking off. So I don't know how I did that. That just happened, and I just let it happen. Yeah, he's got his slot machines now, so he could play over there next to Jabba's throne. And we have our little Rodan with the Jawa celebrating on the stairs, if you remember that scene where they were jumping up and down on the stairs. And it's just, this is a really great doorway that this guy made. I loved it. And the stairs just go up and around, so it gives you a little depth and just a lot of world building there to just kind of have the stairs whip around. So great for stacking the characters in. And also, who's making their way down the stairs? It's Leia Bausch and Chewbacca Bausch's prisoner. So I thought that was just kind of perfect. Now I got a place for them. So that all kind of just worked out really well. I went back and rewatched this scene just so I could make sure I had my placement right. I had some wrong info in the last video. It was Amanda Man was actually over here. There was a whole area back here where these guys were sitting in this little alcove, and they each have their own little tables and stuff. So some of these guys I have standing, but they were actually sitting. I just don't have that area. I don't need additional space for that area. Dengar only oddly pops up in one scene where you could see his head poking through this grate back here when he's looking down at Ula, but then you don't see him in the next scene. So it's just weird how they edited that together and didn't realize that he was in that scene, but he was roughly around there. No backpack on him or anything like that. But and then of course, here's our new human bodyguards that were in that set, and the upgraded Tesk. And the Riaz is actually a slightly different coloring, so I put the newer version in there. But getting some more denizens in there as I build out the scene for the big musical number. And we're just waiting on the new Jabba, basically. I took from the Saga Collection one, there's that frog that is in that little bowl. That only comes with that Saga Collection Jabba. So I mixed and matched here with this pseudo-vintage collection Jabba just because he eats the frog in that scene after Ula takes a dive down into the Rancor pit. So just wanted to show you guys this. There are options on there if you want to build out your Jabba's Palace. You can get stuff like this on eBay. People make these 3D prints. You just need to be able to finish it. You can get some textured sand spray from Home Depot just to give it that extra surface to it. Same with the flooring here. This is just poster board and then that sand spray. So you get a really nice grit on there. So it kind of looks like that sandy stone floor that is in Jabba's Palace. But yeah, I mean, just make it your own however you want. But I just want for a little bit of fun here just to build the scene out because it just felt kind of boring just with this and the adventure set. We're missing these critical stairs here. I think this is a great piece to sort of bring the whole thing together and add two different levels here of this. And there's my Boa monster hiding out behind the set there. But I think it just kind of helps. So I just wanted to show you guys. It's a great set. It's even better when you start building it out a little bit and have a little fun with it. My next step is to get lighting in there. So I got to figure that out because it's kind of dark down here. Well, it's Jabba's Palace. It should be. But yeah, again, love this set. I thought this would be a great way to end the segment, showing you the most modern set available. And just how you could customize it now and have a little bit of fun with it and bring all those characters in and really round out your set from 2023, looking all the way back at 1983 when we only had about 5 of these characters, and now we have about 20 characters or so. So it's just a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm going to end it here, back on this 98 Jabba's Palace. I just love it, and it was kind of the standard for... I don't know, most of my life because we just didn't have anything this good until now. So I hope you found this segment interesting and informative, taking a look back at all the previous Jabba's Palace or Jabba's Dungeons playsets that have been out there for the last 40 or so years. And, it's great to see where things are going. I hope you like that little surprise I had showing you my upgraded Jabba's throne room area. That set's great. I'm not going to say it's not the Jabba's Throne plus the Jabba's Adventure playset, but it's just missing a couple pieces. Like, if I could only get one more piece, it would be that stair set because it really links the two together and it gives you that stage for your Jabba's dancers and the band and everything. And if they do the band and Vintage Collection, we need to have that stage for them to perform on. So it just kind of sucks that piece is missing. Also, I love having that entranceway. I mean, there's those slot machines there. There's those great stairs, so you could have just a couple of different scenes on there, whether you want to do Chewbacca pushing Delaran down the stairs or something like that. Yeah, it looks great. So those are out there if you want to go look on Etsy or look on eBay. Find whichever one works for you, whichever level of finishing you're comfortable with to get it to look a certain way. I think they're totally worth it because they really bring that set together. So if you're trying to build out a really nice display, you could totally grab some of those and just do a little bit of sanding, prepping, and painting, and then you get however you want to get it finished. But worth your time, I think. I did that in one weekend, so I'm sure you guys could do it. I'm sure you're comfortable with that kind of stuff and can figure it out, but that did not take me a whole lot of time to do that. It came pretty much done. I just had to do a little bit of surface prep and then glue it all together. And that was really, after just filling in those gaps, it was just, that's it. So, yeah, worth checking out. I hope you guys enjoyed this segment. Tune back for more on Rebelscum.com. We have new stuff every day. We have reviews. We're going to be heading into the holiday season, so we'll be having our gift guide coming out soon as well. So stay tuned for us highlighting all the great stuff we saw this year that can make some great gifts for you. Of course, we'll have another Rebelscum Rewind segment next month. I don't know what it is yet, so I can't give you a hint. I do want to do all the holiday figures that have been out there, at least in the Hasbro line. I'm not going to do all the Disney Store ones, so I will do everything from the 3 3/4 through the Black Series ones. But I might save that for December, because I think that would be more fun to do closer to the holiday at that point, as opposed to Thanksgiving, as opposed to November. So I'll figure something out. If you guys have suggestions on something you want to see next month, let me know. I'll see what I can throw together. But yeah, I'll always welcome ideas. I'm going to run out of ideas at some point, but I welcome ideas to help me close out this year and fill in our November. So that's all for this time. Like, subscribe, and follow, and stay vigilant, you Rebel Scum.